Hello again, and I'm back, and it's actually a few days later since I recorded the part 1 of this, because I've been so busy. Over the weekend we've had our agility club show, so I've been helping with that, and now it's a case of just finding a time where I can record this without there being too much disturbance, and hoping I have a little bit better luck than in part 1. Because that didn't go so well, but never mind. We'll later on at night again. It's 10:30. So puppy's finally crashed and things are nice and quiet, so I can get on with this again. And all I need to do is do the details and highlights and what have you. That's going on. I did actually get another drawing done that I needed to take to show with me for somebody to pick up. So I got that done. So that it were ready to be able to take there in time. And obviously this just went on back burner until I had time to be able to record it. It's easy when you can just get them done without worrying about recording and what have you. As you can see, I'm using these pastels here, these grey pastel pencils, because this subject's quite dark coloured. A lot of the highlights they're not very bright, they're quite muted, so I'm gonna use these in order to apply them so that they're not too harsh, you know, compared to when you're using a white pencil. Just trying to find me correct. I've got two Bs in these generals, and one of them must have come from a bad batch because it's really scratchy and horrible. I've seen other people complaining about it as well, but the most recent ones I bought seem to be okay, so that scratchy one must be from a previous batch, a previous one that I ordered further back, and I've just avoided using it, and I keep mixing it up with current better one. And then this is the grisaille one. I'm not the biggest fan of doing tack, but people only seem to want to photograph their horses when they're wearing tack, or big chunky head collars like I mentioned in part 1. Now, you might remember that I said I weren't going to be becoming like too tightly detailed on this drawing. It's not the best reference photo. And with it only being a small drawing, it's like it just don't work very well. You're better off just trying to keep it a bit on the looser side. So find that when I'm using this and pastels, they sort of just blend themselves. They don't need the blending stump the way that the charcoal does. And if you do, just use it like really sparingly, lightly. So anyway, I've had quite a busy weekend. It's been quite tiring. You had to get up at crack of dawn both days and drive for nearly an hour to get to where show were taking place. And then help on rings all day, and then when rings had finished, just helping on Saturday. It was just helping to maybe set up, if a course had been sent by the next day's judge, you'd help to just move things around so that it sort of resembled their course a little bit, to make it easier for them to then set up for their course next day. I'm just gonna sharpen this 2B, because the only one that's sharp is the one that is scratchy and horrible. So yeah, we're helping on a ring and also running my dog as well. Normally when I go to shows I just do one day, because I don't camp. It's having to drive to shows like 2 days on trot. I just can't be bothered with that. It's too tiring. So I tend to just go for one day, which is usually a Saturday, and then we chill out on Sunday. But obviously I had to help both days, so well, I didn't have to, but firstly my sister were visiting from, she lives quite far away from us now, a few hours away, so we don't see each other that often, and they didn't come up last year, so it's been 2 years I think since they last came up. So she wanted to actually go to the show herself, but she didn't want to go on Saturday because it were her partner's birthday. So she asked me if I'd go on Sunday, because normally I go on Friday and help set up. So she asked me if I'd go on Sunday, and when she were planning to go, I said, oh, go on then. So they were quite nice actually, because she were filming me runs when she were able to, which I don't normally get. I've got a couple of people who sometimes film me runs, but I only managed to get a couple of her runs, but because I was busy helping on a ring, I weren't in a position to make sure I got the others, because I was just, like I said, helping on a ring. But yeah, I got a few of my runs. Pity the nicest one, where she got a nice clear and won it. She missed that one. And she were nearby, she could have got it, but she thought somebody else would before me in queue. So she took her eyes off us for a minute. And then when she realised I were running, because she could hear me, you know, shouting things at Wisp to tell her what to do, she were caught short then and didn't get to film me. But there was this other woman who kept standing in weird places when she were waiting, so you never knew where she were in queue. She just kept standing in strange places, and it were her that confused her. So yeah, that run was missed, unfortunately. I would have liked to have seen that one. I thought typical, the ones that usually people get are the ones where we fluff them up. So you can use it as a video to see where you went wrong and you know what you could improve on, but you can't use it as a video to show off. We all like showing off videos. Look what I've done. But you can't use them as a show off video, especially some ones we've managed. My dog loves to do car crashes. So anyway, I'm just continuing highlights on this horse. Got lots of like little veins and things going on. Just doing little tiny, might not be able to see, but I'm just doing tiny little circular motions. Where I just want to lighten areas up. Like this area here. Some places where I do want to use white charcoal. So yeah, there's not that much to keep rambling on about whilst I'm drawing this. Without just repeating yourself, because I'm just doing the same old thing. A lot of like repetitive stuff in these drawings, so if you're watching and there's anything that you'd like me to describe better that I'm currently not doing, then let me know in comments. Like I say, it's sometimes difficult to think of something to say about what it is I'm actually doing. I mean, you can say so much, but then it's like, what do you say after that? So then you end up going a bit quiet, and so let me know if that bothers you, or if you're quite happy to just watch me drawing. Because I don't generally put any music to these. It saves me having to find some. Saves any potential issues with copyright and all that. See, there's bits of ribbon here. It's got some writing on, but I'm not going to try and make that writing how it is in photo. It's just not going to work at this size in charcoal, so hopefully you can get enough information from watching about how I'm sort of doing this. Like I say, it's a little bit quiet because there's not really that much else to say about what it is I'm doing. Without just, like I say, repeating yourself. So say main thing with this is, like I say, keeping the highlights more subtle. You don't want to be going over the top with them. think one thing some people do is they see like highlights, like, you know, areas of coat that are a bit lighter, and they emphasize it a little bit too much sometimes, so it's really sort of overly contrasty compared to what it actually really looked like in either in flesh or in photo. I mean, sometimes you do that to an extent because it adds a bit more life to an image that were, you know, possibly a little bit flat. But so it is possible to overdo it. So I want a little bit of dark next to that nose band there, because obviously it creates some shadow. I'm not really up on all parts of a horse's tack and what have you. When it comes to actual equestrian stuff, I'm a bit clueless. I just like horses and I like drawing them, and that's it really. When it comes to all the equestrian stuff, I'm not very knowledgeable. Just gonna add a few more highlights up here because this is a little bit lighter, just above eye ear. Just doing like little flecks in direction that the fur would be like growing in. Can add a few down here as well on these lighter areas. Don't go overboard with this though, because otherwise it'll just look overdone. Like I say, it's quite a dark coloured horse. And it's a case of less is more. Oh. This rosette here. I've got this little strap coming under cheekbone. You can't really see what else going on under here, it's just too dark in reference photo. So this needs darkening because there's very little light coming underneath this rosette. See, it's even darker because of the reference photo not being very bright anyway. I think I'm gonna actually bring in a blending stump for these ribbons. Because they're made out of satin, see, they're quite smooth. And just put a little impressions of writing on the on that rosette face there, because obviously I've got no idea what it says. And you just couldn't make it look like it said anything anyway at that size, in charcoal especially. Under here I'm just going to do some very slight impressions of something happening without really being able to see anything happening. Can't really see out in photo, so I'm just going to add a slight impressions of, you know, without going overboard, because I don't really know what's going off under there. And I'll come back to top at neck. I'm just going to soften that edge there because you can see it main's going over to the other side, but there's light catching right on top there, so it softens edge of it against, obviously in reference photo it's against mostly sky, also a few trees and other things going on in background there, but obviously I'm not adding any background here, so and then work down onto neck and the muscles in neck, capturing some light on the top sides there. Good thing about this grisaille grey as well, it's quite good for applying to edges where you fade a drawing out, you know, like this horse's neck's like cut off. You can just go over it really lightly and it just sort of like blends it into a nicer, so it looks less abrupt. Sorry about that, were right annoying you then, weren't it? That bit, that little bit that were on paper there. You were probably staring at it, weren't you, and waiting for me to get rid of it. So again, there's not much that you can see going on it with necks. A few little highlights you can only just see. I'm just going to put some slight impressions around there, no over top, because it's not easy to see much what's actually going on. I'm actually just going to darken these reins a little bit because they are darker in reference photo. So we're not far off finishing this really. Like I say, I didn't want to make it too detailed. Just add some highlights in places. Just keep it to a minimum. Don't want too many. little bit of end of a strap here. It's just catching a bit of light, so I'm just adding a bit of light at end. You know, it sticks out a little bit. There's also a little buckle here. I just want to add. Well, I hope you've not minded me being really quiet doing this. Like I say, there's not been that much to say. That's the problem with filming them in real time. I mean, sometimes I start rambling on about general life stuff, but I mean, do you even want to listen to that? I don't know. You have to let me know. I mean, I sometimes like to listen to general life stuff when I'm watching other people's, but that's me. Sometimes I've put these videos like this on when other people have made them. Not because I want to actually watch the drawing, but I put it on just so I can listen to them chatting away. And then I get on doing my own drawing or doing whatever it is I'm doing, because I didn't put it on to actually watch them do the drawing. So anyway, I'm not far off getting done with this now. It's okay, so you can keep going and you can just overwork it, or you can just stop there. Like I say, it's one of them pictures where you can't do too much anyway. It's quite a dark coloured horse. It's not a very good reference photo, and it's a small drawing in charcoal. So, and a bit of pastel. So there's only so much you can do before you start overworking it and not really making it look any better. Put a bit more dark around this part of it. So I think that'll do it for this actually. Just had a few little hairs on top of that ear there. See, it's only a little drawing, so there's not really much else you can do that's going to add to it. I think one of the ways that a lot of people struggle is when to stop. And I think sometimes over time you just learn, your gumption just tells you, like, you know, just stop now. If you're looking at it and it looks alright, then just stop. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little drawing, and I hope you've not minded me going a bit silent on you. Actually, there's a little bit of a grainy area here that I just want to smoothen out a bit. Typical of me, this. I keep saying I'm going to stop and then I don't. But yeah, I'm going to stop now because, like I say, it's what I do from here on is not really going to add to drawing. It's just not, and that's it. There's only so much you can do. So just had a couple of tiny little highlights, just a couple of little places. Like I say, these kinds of things you can sort of like add a bit of artistic license, as long as you don't go overboard, because if you go overboard then it'll just look silly. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. And I still keep going. I keep seeing something else and think, oh, I could just alter that a little bit. But yeah, I hope you've not minded me going a bit quiet on you. It's partly because you're concentrating on what you're doing, and partly because I just can't think of what to say. Like I say, you can describe what you're doing to a degree, but you can only repeat yourself so many times as to what it is you're doing, and you're doing just like a lot of the same thing. You know, through all portraits, so you're doing the same thing here as what you're doing here, and you can just keep repeating what you were saying, and people will just get bored of hearing you saying it just for the sake of saying it, just so that you're saying something. And obviously I just didn't want to just keep repeating myself for the sake of it. Just felt a bit weird. So, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it regardless. Like I say, if it's out about these videos that you think could make them better, just let me know in comments and I'll bear it in mind for future videos. Because you try to think of stuff like what would make it better for you or whatever, but sometimes other people come up with things that you didn't think of. So like I say, if you do think of something, then let me know in comments, and I'll leave it at that for this video, and I'll see you in my next one. I'll try and make my next one another painting video, and I'll try and do another acrylic tutorial at some point. Like I say, I'm just trying to get through these photos I've got to do, because they're sucking some time up, and then I'll be able to get back to that a bit better. So anyway, that's it for this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.